What is good, YouTube? Quinn Wade Basketball Analysis coming to y'all with that video on Sunday. We're going to continue the rebuilding series. I see it's getting a lot of good responses and a lot of good views, so I'm glad I brought it back so you guys can enjoy it. Today, we're going to talk about a team that's, you know, everybody really, not everybody, a majority of the people predict that would make the playoffs. They was in the playoff picture all year. They fell out in the last month, and they had got on that losing streak and was never able to get it right after that. They did good enough to make it, but they ended up not making it because of that. This team is difficult to guard. This team has young players on it that can potentially develop into stars, while they still have a decent pick that they're not that bad. Um, I would definitely want to talk about the younger players first because it's going to impact who they sign and who they draft as the video go on. But Jamal Murray was a guy that I felt was going to take Emmanuel Mudiay's spot when he was drafted. Um, the biggest flaw with Jamal Murray is he's not a pass first point guard. And you can say you can say that about anybody in the NBA because mostly all the point guards in the league are really scorers. You still do have the Chris Pauls, you have the John Walls that prefer to pass, but majority of them want to give you 18 to 20 plus points a game and shoot threes. And Jamal Murray is a guy that can get to the hole. He still need to polish his offensive game, add some better floaters, try to find a way to get better handles to get to the rim. His shot selection to me improved last year. Not only has his shot selection improved, but his shot making improved. He started making more shots. He had more consistent minutes. He had more chemistry with his teammates. He had the ability to fit in where he get in. And it's because he started. They allowed him to make his mistakes. They allowed him to have his great games, his bad games, but the coach never really gave up on him. The coach continued to use him, and he never really took the starting gig away from him. And Jamal Murray was able to put up his best seasons so far in his career, and he has a lot of potential because you guys got to remember Jamal Murray just turned 21 in February, and he's a guy that just gave you 16 points, 37 from three, 90% from the free throw line, and he shot 45% from the field. His rookie year, he shot 40%, so that's a huge increase. But I think it's more because of the consistency, knowing his teammates, getting the shots, getting within the offense, being himself, knowing what shots to take, what shots to make. But I think his playmaking ability will be better. I mean, has to get better, not will be, but he has to improve that because you have to be able to keep the defense guessing. You never want the defense to be comfortable. You never want the defense to basically control the game. You want to be able to get shots you want. You want to be able to get shots for your teammates. You want to be able to execute whether you have the ball in your hand or not and make plays. And that's for the betterment of the team. And like I said, that's my biggest knock on Jamal Murray is that he's really a combo guard. He really should be playing the two because he's more of a scorer and he doesn't really pass as much unless he has to. But he also has that size of the modern day four and that shooting ability to go with Gary Harris to space out the floor for a guy like Jokic that likes to post up and likes to kick out and to give some options because they both can shoot. But at the same time, Jamal Murray, it's hard to get that passing ability because it's either people usually are born with it or they never really can get to that ability to see the floor and make decisions for the betterment of their team. Why not talk about Jokic? He's a guy that I had on my All NBA team, but he obviously didn't make it. He showed potential again. He reminded me a little bit of Paul Gasol because he likes to post up. He likes to play make. He likes to knock down the elbow jumper. He's a team first player. He's going to get you rebounds. He's going to get you assists. He's going to have a soft touch. He can knock down free throws. And now you're starting to see it more because he can knock down threes. And that's something that Paul Gasol started doing when Mike D'Antoni went to the Lakers. But he's not the rim protector. He's not the defensive player that you'll want in the inside. And teams really take advantage and use that. And that's something that he can't really control because he's too big. He's not lateral. He don't have lateral quickness. And that's something that really hurts this Denver team is that even though he can rebound, he can't protect the rim. And everybody knows that people like to get the layups or the threes or even get to the free throw line. And that's something that Jokic doesn't really do for you. He doesn't protect the rim. He doesn't stop people from going inside, and he's not the best help defender, but he's one of the best all around offensive players in general in the league, especially at the center position, leading the NBA in assists, getting rebounds, taking over games. Some games he just dominates. Some games he just trusts his teammates more, and that's why I see more of the Paul Gasol. He really don't have that alpha dog in him where I want to take over every game. I want to do whatever I want to my defenders. Nobody can guard me. Nobody can stop me. He has games like that, but he doesn't have that mentality to do it every game. And I think that's really hurts him as the best player on the team. That Jamal Murray has that dog and that killer in him. Jokic really doesn't, but the best part about it is they own the same team, so it really don't matter because as long as you have that alpha, that guy that's not scared to take the shots, that guy that's not scared to make the shots, you should be fine. And to me, they have that in Jamal Murray, a guy that's very confident in his game. The last person I definitely want to talk about is Gary Harris. He's the other addition to this team that got a contract extension. He's one of their building blocks, a guy that has improved his jump shot but starting to fill out his game. Kind of remind me a little bit of Bradley Beal, a guy that came in the league that likes to come off screens and knock down jumper, keep the defense guessing, and always try to get to that three-point line. But Bradley Beal started adding more to his game, like the handle game, to be able to get to where he wants on the court, being able to isolate, and a guy that can also play make. And I can see that happen with Gary Harris, even though he's not the biggest and tallest shooting guard. He's a guy that you always got to watch because of that jump shot. You give him any type of room, you give him any type of space, he's going to knock down those shots and he's going to be comfortable. And he can get real confident if you keep giving him those shots. But he's always going to keep you moving. He's always going to keep you guessing. You always got to be on your heels because you give him any space, he's going to annihilate you. And he's a solid defender. Now, when it comes to the draft and free agency, this team is cap strapped with contracts of Gary Harris kicking in. You still have Kenneth Faried getting $12 million. You still got Mason Plumlee getting $14 million. Obviously, Gary Harris' contract don't kick in into next season, and the worst part about it is they got a 33-year-old Paul Millsap who was a big name free agent, and as long as they keep him, and the reason why they didn't succeed with him because he had a wrist injury and never played really majority of the season. So if he was healthy, maybe they make the playoffs. Maybe it's a guarantee, but him missing a significant amount of time with that wrist injury really dampened their chances at really winning and getting to the playoffs, even though they did a solid job coming close. Having a closer and a solid defender and a stretch four, and sometimes can play the 3 or the 5 in Paul Millsap, it's hard to lose, especially as a playmaker and a scorer. He adds versatility and different dimensions to this team when he's out on the court. They can do different lineups, they can play different styles, and they have a guy that can create his own shot. And rebound the ball and is a solid defender at this position. So that really hurted them that he missed a significant amount of time, and they really needed him so they can get that playoff push, but they never could really get him after December. So that hurted that at the end of the season you lose. The middle to the ending of the season you lose your best player potentially. And he never really got a chance to buy in. He never really got a chance to learn his teammates because he went out so fast. But having Mason Plumlee, having Gary Harris extension kick in, having Paul Millsap stops them from really getting another free agent. Even if they wanted to, they're about to get ready to pay Jokic. Problem with that is this team, to me, has a high ceiling because they have so much diversity offensively. But until Paul Millsap leaves, it's going to be hard to get other great players to come to this team. But the thing about Denver is they have the ability to absorb a contract because they have so many contracts that they can trade. They have guys like Will Barton. They have guys like Kenneth Faried, who's hard to trade, but he's only making $12 million. That's not that bad compared to other guys like Allen Crabbe. He, 28 years old, that can give you rebounding and give you a solid player for $12 million. Ain't that bad under the new CBA, but he also can't stretch out the floor. You still have Juan Hernangomez. He's a guy that has a lot of potential that teams would like to take if you can add him. You have Trey Lyles, a guy you can package that people will want because he's a stretch four. You still have Wilson Chandler, a guy that garners a lot of attention, making 12 million, but he's a guy that can knock down a three. His play great defense, and he's a guy that has enough salary that you can try to trade him off and get another piece or try to get as much money on the contract. You basically can add him and Mason in the pick or something and try to get that third, fourth guy to go with Jokic and Millsap and Murray while he's still under his rookie contract. I doubt they get a free agent, so I'm going to tell you that right now. Denver at this point cannot sign another free agent, especially if they're going to focus on re-signing Jokic, and then 2 years from now Murray. They might as well keep that space open, and Millsap will fall off the contract. His contract will fall off by time Murray is a free agent. So they should be fine financially, but that also tells you is they're stuck with this roster. And this roster is not good enough to win a championship. This roster is not good enough to even get out of the second round, probably not even the first round, when healthy. But I think they probably could do that depending on the matchup. But that's what they're stuck at. This is a team that has a lot of offensive, a high ceiling offensively, but they don't have the cap space to really sign anybody to take them to that next level. They do have pieces and picks that they can trade to get that player, but who really wants to come to Denver? Even though I think they're one of the better places because of Jokic and Murray and Gary Harris. Obviously, having the 14th pick and some players that actually are playable, which is Mason Plumlee and Chandler, I probably would think that they'll try to move this pick to try to make another a run at being a better team. But with players like Robert Williams, who would be a good fit, especially if they let go of Mason Plumlee, they can have a guy that can play the 4 or the 5 and anchor that defense with Jokic in the future. With Jokic still playing the center, you get a guy that can protect and has lateral quickness and athletic abilities. They can always go for a backup guard with Landry Smith, Zaire Smith, or even Kyrie Thompson. You can even go to Gary Trent Jr. or even Lonnie Walker, and you can always go trade down in the draft to probably get a Kevin or Chandler or a Troy Brown, or even if you want to get another center on a cheap contract, which is a rookie deal, go for Mitchell Robinson. They don't really need anything but another star. So whoever they draft is just going to be a guy coming off the bench, kind of like what we've seen with Jamal Murray. I feel like their starting lineup will be fine. It's not going to take them to a championship, but if they can't find that third All-Star, it's going to be hard for them to move up in the hierarchy of the NBA Western Conference. But this draft pick, to me, don't matter as much for Denver because they already have their starting lineup solidified. They already have an identity. They already have an ideal of what they're trying to do on offense and on defense. They have a good coach. And on top of that, if you really think about it, they don't have any holes in this team so far. And adding a bench guard or small forward or even a backup center for 3 to 4 years on rookie contracts just bolster their bench. And if somebody get injured, they have a guy that can come in and contribute probably next year, this year, or in the future. Maybe they get an injury or a player doesn't develop, they can just continue to draft players that can come in and take that spot, or have a cheaper option, or like I said, they can package some players together with the pick and try to get another all-star. Worst case scenario, they move down in the draft and get the players already named, and they'd be fine with that too because they don't have any needs in that starting lineup. They don't really have a hole in the lineup. So let me know what you guys think. Check out my website, analysisplayground.com. Link in the description, comment section below. Check out my Facebook page, analysisplayground.com. Link in the comment section in the description below. Quinn White Basketball Analysis. I'm going, and let me know what you guys think the Denver Nugget future is, what they should do, what they shouldn't do, who they should draft, who they shouldn't draft, or if you agree with me, which most people will because they don't really have a particular player they need. They don't have the cap space to get anybody because they strapped right now. And on top of that, none of their draft picks are better than the players they have already on their roster and that starter lineup. So why not add another cheap piece to your bench, or just trade the pick in general for cash? Or you can also just move down in the draft, play somebody even cheaper, and try to get a good player that can come in and play right away. So let me know what you guys think.